Most pastors think that their sermon is already a book. It's not. Your sermon is a moment in time. Your book is a structured journey. When you preach, you are hyping people up. You are giving them understanding. You are breaking down complex problems for them. And oftentimes, the next week when they come back, they don't remember at all what you preached about. That's because your sermon is a moment. With your book, however, you have an opportunity to go home with your congregation and explain those topics in a way that is curated by you. You have an opportunity to go in depth with the topic at hand without confusing anyone. Sermons are constrained by time and energy. Books are not. My name is Carl Janchis. I'm a book coach for pastors. I'm also an author, a speaker, and a publisher. And in this video, I want to teach pastors how do you convert your sermon series into a book the right way. Before we get into the right way, let's talk about what the wrong way is. The first wrong thing you are doing is copying and pasting your sermon. As I said before, a sermon is constrained by time and energy. That means you have to cut out certain words that are not necessary. That means you have to skim past definitions that might be vital to understanding the concept that you are teaching. That means a topic that might be layered is only given a shallow explanation rather than going in depth with what you are talking about. That's because sermons are limited by time and energy. You only have a few minutes to explain everything that you need to in that time. The second thing that pastors are doing wrong when they try to write the book is they start with chapter 1. Starting with chapter 1 is like running a race without knowing how long that race is going to be. Writing a book is like running a marathon. If you start with the wrong pacing, you're going to run out of energy very quickly and soon you'll give up. I've seen this so many times before. Pastors who have so much experience, so much knowledge, so much understanding of the topic that they want to break down. They start writing chapter 1, they put everything that they know into chapter 1 and then they run out of things to say. Not because they didn't know what to say, but because they didn't understand pacing. Your book is not limited by time and energy. Your book is a structured journey, which means you need to plan out before you start writing. So, never start with chapter 1. You need to start with chapter 0, the planning document. The planning document is where you define what the pacing should be. You know, are these mature Christians that you are writing to, or are these baby Christians? What is the core message? Who is your audience? What are the chapters? What are the subheadings? What are the quotes? What are the revelations? What are the scriptures you are using? In your planning document, you figure out when are you going to write? Where are you going to write? How much time will you set aside for writing? How many words will the book be? How long will it take you to write all those words? That way you know when you are going to start and when you are going to end. The third thing that pastors are doing wrong when they try to write their book is they are writing without a thesis. A thesis is a one-sentence statement that sums up the entire book. Many people say that the thesis statement for the Bible is John 3 verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That one sentence sums up the entire message of the Bible. What one sentence sums up the message for your book? That is your thesis statement. Most pastors, when they write a book, they have so many topics that they want to touch on that they can't sum up in one thesis statement. You need a thesis statement. Figure it out in your planning document. Finally, the fourth thing that pastors are doing wrong when they start writing their book is they haven't defined the reader's journey. One of the first questions I ask when I run my 5-day book calling intensives is, who are you writing this book for? And I already know that this pastor has a problem when they say the words, I think it's for everyone. Your book is not for everyone. It is never for everyone. Everyone may read it, but it is not for everyone. Your book has to have a clear, defined target audience. It might be a mature Christian, it might be a baby Christian. If it's a baby Christian, is it an adult baby Christian or is it a teenager? Is it a woman or is it a man? Is it someone who is rich or someone who is poor? In which location is this person? Someone from the United States has a different culture than someone from South Africa, and they perceive things differently. Your language use has to be different. Knowing these things beforehand will determine the way you write the book and how you structure it. I had a client who wanted to write a book to mothers, and she had so much advice, vast amounts of knowledge that she wanted to put in the book. And I had to pause her and ask her, who are you writing to? I know you're writing to mothers. Mothers at what age? Young mothers, old mothers, single mothers. Which kind of mothers are you writing to? Mothers who are affluent, mothers who have support, mothers who have no support. Who are you writing to? These questions determine what you put first in your book, what you put last. It will determine the order of your chapters. Knowing this is so important before you start writing. And if you don't take the time out to sit and plan this out, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to run out of steam. So let's talk about the right way to write your book. When I run my 5-day book calling intensives, I use what I call the Bloom framework. The 5-day book calling intensive is there to find clarity for your message, to break down all the confusion and get a clear understanding of what you are writing, who you are writing to, and why you are writing the book. And the Bloom framework is how I do it. The first step of the Bloom framework is B, for brainstorming. What I do with a client is I tell them, for the next hour, I want you to talk. Everything that you want to put in the book, talk about. Because what happens is your mind is so full of idea and revelations that you have no idea what to do. You have so many things that you want to touch on. So what I have to do is I need to get all those ideas onto paper. And now that we have all the ideas onto paper, we can actually sift them out because we can visualize them. Brainstorming is all about taking the mess that is in your head, putting it onto paper so that you can visualize and break them up further. The second step of the Bloom framework is linking. These are now identifying topics that link with one another that we can use to create a structure for the book. Some ideas might have 2, 3, 4, 5 links, while others have 10. And there might be some ideas that are completely isolated. Those you do not want in the book because they have nothing to do with the core thesis of the book. In the linking process, we have to draw lines between these ideas and figure out, are these necessary to be included in the book? The more lines we can draw between these concepts and ideas, the better. The third step of the Bloom framework is what I call organize. Organizing is where we take all these linked concepts and we start figuring out, what are you going to write? The first step is, what is your thesis statement? What is the one sentence that defines your book? Usually at this point, I will make my clients write a 1-page introduction for the book. That introduction focuses on explaining 3 things. Number 1, who are you writing this book for? Number 2, why are you writing this book? And 3, what do you expect the reader to get out of the book? It's very important to understand that readers are selfish. The author cannot be selfish. Your book is not a place to vent. Your book is not a place to just tell your story because you feel your story needs to get out. Your book is a transformation journey for the reader. So what does the reader get out? Once they have that introduction, I can now figure out This is what the core message of your book is, and then we can create a one-sentence thesis statement for your book. The fourth step of the Bloom framework is what I call outline. This is where we actually go into the chapter architecture. Now we figure out these are the chapters. These are the 10 questions that need to be answered. These are the sub-chapters. These are the subheadings. These are the scriptures, the revelations. These are all the ideas that need to be put down on paper. We plan these things meticulously before we start writing. Why? So that you can pace out exactly how long it's going to take before you finish this book. So that when you sit down by the PC, you are not frozen or overcome by all the ideas in your head. All you need to focus on is that subchapter that you wanted to write. When you have the chapters and the sub-chapters all clearly broken down and explained what you're going to do, it is so easy to identify how long it's going to take to finish this book. Another important fact to remember is that you want to use the power of story. Now, I know I said the book is not a place to vent and tell your stories, but it's important to understand that story is what makes your book relatable. I like using the example of a roast chicken. If I have 3 houses that I can visit, house A, house B, and house C, and all 3 of them offer me roast chicken, I might taste them, I might enjoy all of them, but I can clearly choose a favorite. Why? Because each house has their own way of making roast chicken. It is all the same type of chicken. It's all roast chicken, but they have different ways of spicing that. That spice is your storytelling. There may be 100 books written on the topic that you want to write, but your story is the spice that makes it unique. Your way of writing is what makes it unique. That's why it's important to define who your audience is, because you can write exactly to what that audience likes. So I tell my clients, number 1, never forget your core message. You need the roast chicken. You cannot just give them spice. But at the same time, don't forget the spice. Don't serve them roast chicken without any spicing on it. Give them the meat of the message, but also give them the story to make that meat more digestible. Your story will take your core message and break it down in ways that other people cannot. And when someone invites you to come and speak at their church, to come and preach, to speak on stage, like your book is supposed to do for you, to multiply your ministry, they expect the storyteller in that book to come and meet them. The 5th step of the Bloom framework is what I call multiply. Multiply is where we go back to every single step, the B, the L, and the double O's. We go back to every step and we multiply it. So in those chapters, we want to now brainstorm more, link more, organize more, outline more, so that your book is layered, structured, and in-depth. No one is supposed to read your book and go, I still don't understand. Your book is supposed to alleviate all that. Your book is supposed to bring light to that topic. So every chapter that you've written down, we go back and we multiply it. Every subheading, we go back and we multiply it. Every scripture, we go back and we multiply it. We want to make sure that your book touches everything that it needs to touch and multiplies it. So, if you're a pastor who has a message, a call on their heart to write a book, and you are unsure of how to steward that message into a book, my name is Carl Janchis. I am a mentor for pastors who want to write their book. I help pastors bring clarity before they write, taking them on 6 or 12-month mentorships. If you're keen to have a conversation with me, there is a link in the description of this video. Click it, book a call with me, and I will see you there.